Hey yo, what it do, y'all? Let's get right into it. I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a crafting guide for a necrotic armor to finally upgrade out of, Restless Ward or other unique chest pieces if you're playing a trickster, which this is of course directly aimed at like Hexblast mines, as that is the character I am currently playing, as well as just a last piece of an update to the video that I made before the league started. But it's worth noting that this craft is very useful for any character that's using these evasion ES chess pieces. It just happens to be extremely high priority for tricksters that are specking into escape artist. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys this update on how to craft it so you can, take your defenses to the next level. Obviously, it will hurt your damage if you take off, corrupted for damage versions of unique items. But the defensive benefits of having a necrotic armor on are massive. The base evasion and ES alone should give you an idea of just how powerful this chess piece is really going to be when you put it together. And so I wanted to give you guys that update, before we get into it. If you find this particularly useful, like, comment, subscribe. The interaction really helps out the video. Plus, if you subscribe with the notifications on, you can get notified when we post more over here. The interaction helps get the message out there because that's the whole purpose. Now, let's get into it. The ideal item looks something like this, right? We put evasion, energy shield, like the percent. We put the hybrid. That is the hybrid, right? Yeah, that's the hybrid. Another percent is actually stronger. You'll see, like, if you look here at the evasion and ES numbers, 3,400 and 730. If I pull those down and instead use the, you don't want to use, say, like the hybrid with life, because hybrid with life will brick the life mastery. So you have to end up using something like, we're trying to click on the right one here. There we go, like ES mana, and that's like just not good enough. So we use double percent and flat. This used to not be the case where you didn't really care as much about the third prefix one, but we don't have the insane Gravicious craft anymore, so this is perfectly fine. And then ideally our suffixes are suppression and two other suffixes of choice. A really easy one, for example, is say like chaos res and something to craft on, right? But like if you really wanted it to, it could be like fire and chaos resistance or something, right? Like it's nothing too major to think about here from there. This is a beautiful item. Look at that evasion ES number. You get so tanky off of a chest like this. It's a lot of ES, even if you aren't a trickster, but especially if you are a trickster, this is insane. And so now I'm going to show you how to make this, right? Let's talk about making it. The first step is I would highly, highly, highly recommend getting a fractured base for this. They are going to be expensive because you're looking for a good suppression fracture. It's worth noting I-86 is what you'll need to look at for T1 suppression. If you want, lower, if you're fine with lower tiers, that's okay. Again, come over to the calculator and check it out. You're still going to want 86 if possible anyways, though, because of the fact that 86 is T1% evasion ES, as well as like T2 is 84. So you don't really want to go too low on the item level of the necrotic armor base. But you'll see over here, T1 suppression is 86 as well. So 86 is your ideal item level. 84, I would say, is acceptable. I would not go below 84, personally speaking. Not when I'm crafting my GG chest anyways, right? Like, if I'm getting a quick chest to get me through a stage in the game that is kind of rough, that's a different discussion. But going for the big chest, 86. Fractured suppression, right? So let's go ahead and fracture suppression on here and move it all down from here. It's worth noting, with fractured suppression on, this is a terrible roll for it, unfortunately, but it is what it is, right? Fractured suppression on makes this notably easier because we can do the prefixes really, really simply, and suppression is currently the hardest part of this craft to force on. You'll see here, like, your ways to get suppression, they did add a fossil this patch. It's called the, where is it at? Is it in here? Oh, it's not in Craft of Exile. Okay, I'm going to have it pop up on the screen here because I can't remember the name of it, but there's a fossil now that like works a little bit better for non-tagged stats, like suppresses that spell damage, but it's just better if you like had it tagged, like it had it exist, right? So that's why we have fracture it. I have to regal this in order to actually be able to fossil it. And now the craft for this is a dense fossil and a sanctified fossil. And in case you doubt me, again, I'm only going to run 3 because I know I don't need to run a 4th to actually like prove the point here. Running 4 fossils will make my computer like absolutely hate me, and it also means I have to like talk for an extended period of time. But you'll see here, run the calculations on how to get your prefixes. It likes dense sanctified ever so slightly more than dense, and you can choose which route you want to go. I will say if you are okay with like lower tiers on your prefixes more frequently, especially like in the third tier, in like the hybrid slot, maybe you you just only use dense. But dense or dense sanctify it works, which means this is a very simple craft, right? You can use, if you're like an SSF, you can use the sulfite note, the Nico nodes on the tree. I can't remember the name of it, but the one was like get azurite for clicking on nodes and tricking on sulfite. You can use those to get your resonators, and then like some quick and easy delving or a lot of other things actually will get you some dense fossils that you can switch into dense and like very easily put this craft together. So dense sanctified, that's one way to do it. You see here, you spam it down. You're looking for good prefixes. That's the priority. Like we're doing this with the hopes of seeing like these prefixes are almost good enough. Almost good enough. They're so close. Now, I'm not going to recommend you do what I'm about to do here, just because you can totally do this when you're just messing around with fake money. But if you're feeling it in game, you can always go and add in AUG defenses here. And we didn't hit, so like I said, I don't recommend doing that, but it is an option just to try to see if maybe it hits. We keep rolling. T2 flat and T2 for hybrid. We still don't have the percent. We need the major percent as well as the hybrid, or as well as the flat. Like this is double T3. This would be a good enough settle chest. I'd be a little mad about the flat life, to be honest, especially because I bought a fractured suppression base of all things. But you can see here as I keep rolling, that one's almost okay. Maybe we slam it. This is like almost okay, but the percentage is really low. Let's say you wanted to settle here, just for a quick point of example for something, by the way. If you wanted to settle here and you wanted to like get rid of these suffixes, you would need to put a lesser Ichor on. It's very important, just a lesser Ichor real quick, so that you can Eldritch annul. Don't forget when you're crafting on like armor pieces, you guys, that these Eldritch currencies do exist. Eldritch annuls, Chaos exalts are very good ways to make modifications to a specific side without paying a large amount of money for something like prefixes cannot be changed. And so like we can just Eldritch annul off something before we start doing whatever it is we want to do, whether it be lock and reforge, or maybe instead of that I just am rolling reforge chaos. I'll show you a use for that in a moment. But yeah, so you just keep clicking fossils until it looks pretty. And I swear to God, if it doesn't give you one that looks pretty soon, I'm going to be kind of mad. But I did this in testing. It was a lot quicker to give me something that I really like. This is fine. No, it's not actually. That's not the right tiers. So we are still going, and it's still just not giving me the things I want, which is kind of upsetting because I want to show you guys the rest of it. Here we go. This is good enough for now. I don't like this roll personally. I would keep rolling, but this will do. So we've landed here. My prefixes are strong enough. Again, strong enough. Ways that you can finish this off from here are just simple stuff like if the suffixes weren't clear, like let's just say there was another suffix on here, Eldritch annul with Eater being dominant, so you can just boom, take it off. This is why you'll hear the advice: don't do your implicits till after you've crafted the item, because you can do things like this. Eldritch annul, and now I can do like, say, maybe I want this lightning res and I can craft and be done. Or prefixes cannot be changed, reforge chaos, because this will hit, chaos res every time. And that's awesome. You just keep doing it until there we go. Hit T1 chaos res, craft on it, be done with it. If you have your CI, you can roll for reses. You can do a variety of other things. Maybe you're Eldritch exalting and you're exalting and Eldritch annulling until you hit like attributes or something, right? Like there's a variety of ways you could do this. I do want to make a very quick note before I wrap this up, because this is like the end of the craft, right? From here, it is literally get your Eldritch implicits right, however you want them to look, which I will give you some recommendations based off of like my, things that I like. You make choices based on what things that you like. But Exarch wise, huge. I mean, I'm going to give you recommendations based on Hexblast for a second, because that's what this is mainly for. The main things that I'd be looking at as Hexblast, Curse Effect's okay, but I wouldn't be screaming for it. Max res for mapping content, because we're putting the chest on to actually be tanky enough. This is a fantastic one. Similarly, Blast gaining charges is pretty nice, especially if you're not running a mage blood setup. You can get into some really cool stuff with charge generation. Flush's stun or area of effect is very nice for defensive purposes. There's also endurance charge every second to allow you to drop an accumulator wand and instead use a prophecy or omen wand. So those are the big prefix exarch inputs that you're looking at. And eater, you know, evasion, very good. This just affects the like literal like flat evasion on the item, which will translate to more defenses for your character. Fist taking acid, the big thing here though. Getting, you know, any of the elemental fist taking acids, or if you're a character who's CI, for example, fist taking his chaos is insane, right? And you know, you could get R effect if you want, but like I think like the fist taking acids really stand out to me as the like all around winner in the Eater of Worlds category for what this chest is supposed to be doing. Okay, one last thing. I want to show you guys what you do here. If you want suppression on this item but you didn't fracture it, so let's just say like it's here and we don't have it fractured. A couple ways you can go about getting it. One of the ways that I would probably recommend to be the best, quote unquote, it's going to make you die of cringe, but like, it is what it is. You could just like slam and then like roll your way through the suffixes on repeat until it hits. And this is like probably one of the goofiest ways to get it on there, but if you were really desperate to try to get it, this is the way to do it. Like you could be doing this. Alternatively, modify your calculations. When you're working on making this chest piece, let's say like for example, you're, you know, if you're crafting for suppression, it might your item might be just be worse. So you start making changes here. And if you really want suppression on the item, I'm gonna set this up for T2 here for a second, just to like make this a little bit more approachable math. It might tell you to use a 4th fossil. It also does not have the fossil on here that I'm thinking about, but it'll just tell you to use more dense fossils, and you can just spam until you see suppression at your desires. Or again, goofy crafting in the suffixes. It's kind of hard to force out suppression. It's why people use fracture suppression bases on stuff. It's why they're so expensive. Anyways, that wraps it up for this video. I just wanted to show you guys how to make a really nice necrotic armor should you like want to really get into T17s and feel like your Restless Ward setup is not tanky enough. Which I could understand that, even though the Restless Ward setup is like pretty good, all things considered. The regen is really nice. You're gonna have to replace that regen somehow. Which that reminds me, by the way, when you finish your item, it's staring on the screen at me. So you know, as you finish your item, make sure you don't have a life mod as a suffix either. It'll break the implicit, the mastery still. Anyways, okay, now that's actually all from me. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this guide particularly helpful, again, interact with the video. It gets it out there so that, you know, we can reach more people, etc. Also, if you have any questions, comments, I actually do read those, so I can answer your questions there. Or if you want to, you know, connect further, I have a Twitch and Discord down in the description below. And I do stream somewhat regularly on Twitch, somewhat regularly. I wouldn't say, don't be in there like, where's Mr. Streamer? But those links are in the description as well if you want to connect. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.